This is part 2 of our video on graphing linear relations. So this example says a student borrows $800 from their parents and pays them back $50 each month. So the first thing it asks us to do is fill in the table of values. So we have month and we have money owing. So month 0 would be at the very beginning when they borrowed the money. So they borrowed $800 from their parents. So that initial amount is 800. And then you'll notice we're not going up by ones, we're going up by twos. So after 2 months, it says they borrowed $800 and they pay them back $50 each month. So I would take that $800 and I would subtract 50 for the first month and then 50 for the second month. We did it twice. So they now owe $700. All right, we are doing month 4. So we had $700 still owing at the end of month 2. So then we would subtract 50 for month 3 and then subtract another 50 for month 4. So they would owe $600. Okay, we're going to take away another 50 for month 6. And then, sorry, that was 5. And then 50 for month 6, which is $500. And then we're going to take away 50 for month 7. And then another 50 for month 8. And that is $400. Okay. It says, state the initial value. Our initial value is $800. And then it says calculate the rate of change. Now, I will say, having done the very first part of the lesson where we were looking at descriptions, I don't really need to calculate, right? I can tell from the question they were paying them back $50 each month. So I know that it should be negative because they're paying it back $50 per month. But it did ask me to calculate. So I am going to go through the steps and calculate, but I can tell from the question, right, because they're paying them back, we are subtracting $50 every month. All right, if I calculate the rate of change, which is what it asks me to do, I need to do differences. So from 0 to 2, I added 2. From 2 to 4, I added 2. From 4 to 6, I added 2. From 6 to 8, I added 2. On the other side, from 800 to 700, I took away 100. From 700 to 600, I took away 100. From 600 to 500, I took away 100. And from 500 to 400, I took away 100. So rate of change is delta y over delta x. X is the part on the right-hand side. Y is the part on the left-hand side. So the change in x or delta x is going to be 2, and the change in y or delta y is going to be negative 100. So this is negative 100 divided by 2, which is negative 50, and that is dollars, right? Because that's the y part, and then per x, so month. But like I said, we could just have pulled that out of the description. We did not actually need to calculate it, but it asked us to calculate it in the question, which was good practice. All right, plot the points on the grid provided. So looking at my grid, the x-axis should be the month. And my y-axis should be the money owing. Right, I know that because of the titles that are here. Okay, so we have 0 and 800. All right, well, there's 0, and then 800 is way up at the top. So 0 and 800 right there. All right, 2 and 700. 4 and 600. 6 and 500, and then 8 and 400. Then it says draw a line of best fit. So I'm going to take a ruler or straight edge, and I'm going to draw a line through all of my points that goes from one side of the grid to the other. Arrows at the ends to show that it does continue beyond the grid that I have, right? It would keep going. This is just as much of the data as I'm showing. And once again, the line is handy because then it allows you to calculate or predict values in between. So like if I wanted to know at 5 months, I could look at 5 and then read off the value, right? So it's the dots are the ones that I put in my table, right? But the line includes all of the points that are in that relationship. All right, that was E. Draw a line of best fit, done. Circle on the graph where you can see the initial value. Well, the initial value is right here at 800. And then highlight on the graph where you can see the rate of change. So I'm going to highlight. If you don't have a highlighter, you can just scribble over it with a pen or a pencil. The rate of change is how we get from one point to the next. So my rate of change is negative 50. So the negative 50 means we are going down 50 and over 1. So it is actually just this little tiny bit right there, right? If you don't have a highlighter, you can scribble over it in marker, right? It just tells me that we are going down $50 for every 1 month, right? And then we went down another 50 for 1 month, down another 50 for 1 month, down another 50 for 1 month, down another 50 for 1 month. Right? So for every 1 month we moved over, we went down $50. Okay? All right. So question number 3 on this page says, draw an example of each of the following lines. We're looking for something with a positive initial value, negative rate of change. So I just have a little XY axis here, right? The X is the horizontal part. The Y is the vertical part. Positive numbers go up on Y, negative go down. Positive on X goes this way, negative goes that way. So a positive initial value, we said on both of them, the initial value is here on the Y-axis. So it's the point where the graph crosses the Y-axis. So if it's a positive initial value, it just means where it crosses the Y-axis should be a positive number, so something bigger than 0. So I'm going to pick a spot and make a point. And then a negative rate of change. If I go back and I look at our first example, this one here, my rate of change was positive 4. And I noticed that the line was going up 4, so it was going up. Okay. This one, my rate of change was negative. It was negative $50 per month. And I noticed that my values were all going down. So when something has a positive rate of change, the line should be going up from left to right. And if it has a negative rate of change, it should be going down from left to right. So since this has a negative rate of change, that tells me that my line should be going down. Right? It doesn't matter how steep I made it. It just needed to have a positive initial value and then needed to be heading down as you go from left to right. Okay. The second one says this one has a negative initial value and a positive rate of change. So my initial value on the y-axis should be a negative number. So we're going to be somewhere down here. And then the rate of change is positive, meaning it's getting bigger or it's going up. So my line should be going up. Okay. All right. I will see you in our last video of the day to do question number 4. See you soon.